If you've never taken a cruise before, you might be unsure of exactly what's included in your fare and what you'll need to pay extra for throughout your time on board. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about exactly that topic by sharing with you 15 things that are totally included in your cruise fare. In other words, 15 things that you won't have to spend anything extra on throughout your cruise. If you've booked your cruise and signed into your online account, you might have got a little bit of a fright with the number of upgrade options and the number of things that you could buy to enhance your experience. You could look at booking meals in specialty restaurants. You could go and see shows that you need to buy a ticket for. You might want to pay for a cake or champagne to be delivered to your room on arrival. One that was new to me this year was I took a cruise a few months ago with a European cruise line that offered you the ability to pay to have a sun lounger reserved up on the top deck. I've never come across that before. If you've just found my channel today for the first time, then I'm Fraser and I use my YouTube channel to share my experiences with you on all of the cruises that I take. If you find this video useful today and if you enjoy it, then I'd really appreciate if you would support my channel by clicking both the thumbs up and the subscribe buttons. Now, before we start with the first of 15 things that are totally included in your cruise fare, let me reassure you, when you're looking online, you're maybe thinking, wow, this is going to get a lot more expensive than I thought. Don't worry, because I have taken so many cruises in the past when I leave at the end of the cruise with a very, very small bill. And in fact, some of my best cruises, I've left with an onboard statement of zero. In other words, throughout the entire cruise, I've spent nothing on board. So let's get started. With the first of 15 things that are totally included in your cruise fare, let's talk about kids clubs. I don't travel with children, but I often hear parents saying that one thing they loved on their cruise was the fact that the kids clubs didn't come with an additional charge. Kids clubs on cruise ships operate similarly to kids clubs at resorts on land. The main events and drop-off sessions are fully included, but you'll need to pay extra for things like one-to-one care or after-hours services. Kids clubs will operate all day during the cruise, whether the ship is in port or at sea. So if you're looking to spend a little bit of time on your own, maybe without the kids, that's okay. They've got their own entertainment that they can go to. An example of an after-hours or a one-to-one service would be an onboard nanny service. Some cruise lines offer you the ability to, by the hour, pay for one-to-one care for your children. That means that if you'd like to have date night, for example, in one of the specialty restaurants, or maybe you'd like to go and see a show, you can do that safe in the knowledge that your kids are being looked after by one of the onboard experts. Moving on from kids clubs, let's now talk about one of the biggest topics on a cruise, and that's food. On your cruise, yes, you will have the option to pay extra to go to fancier or more exclusive dining options. However, you're going to have multiple food options available to you, totally included in your fare. First, the majority of cruise ships out there will have what's called a main dining room. These are usually open for breakfast and dinner every single day, and then open for lunch on sea days. Some ships and some cruise lines also open the main dining room when the ship's in port for lunch, but most don't, just due to the simple reason that the majority of guests on a port day will go ashore. You'll also then have a number of more casual options available to you on board. For example, pub-style venues, poolside eateries, a buffet restaurant, etc, etc. Room services included with some cruise lines, but not all. If you're in doubt about whether or not room service is included, my advice to you is to just pick up the phone and ask the question. You can call guest services or even call the number that you use to order room service. It's usually a really easy and really simple answer. The third thing that's included in your cruise fare is all of your accommodation costs. Cruise fares include your accommodation costs for the whole cruise, so you won't need to pay anything extra for your cabin itself. Services like housekeeping are also included on cruise ships, so again, you won't have to worry about budgeting extra to have your room maintained while you're on board. Cruise ships will either offer 1 or 2 housekeeping visits per day. If you're on a cruise that offers 1 visit per day, that will usually happen once you're up and out of the room either around the ship late morning, early afternoon, or once you're off the ship exploring ashore. If you're cruising on a ship that offers 2 housekeeping visits per day, then you'll get that first visit and you'll also get a typical turn-down service in the evening while you're at dinner or while you're out enjoying the ship at night. Number 4, entertainment. Every cruise line out there offers shows that are included in the base cruise fare. The main theatre is usually the primary venue for these, but there are some others out there. For example, some cruise ships use their grand atrium spaces to then put on additional entertainment, and some cruise lines also have what's considered hybrid entertainment venues where they can house performances that are very different to the main theatre. Yes, some cruise lines offer you the ability to then pay extra to go to what they would consider more premium shows, but I personally very rarely go to them, and I'm usually very happy with what's included with my fare. I'm not just talking about evening entertainment being included here. There's a whole host of entertainment available throughout the day on your cruise, regardless of which cruise line you're travelling with. In order to find out what's on, where, and when, all you have to do is read your daily schedule, which is a document that will either be delivered to your cabin every night before you go to bed, or it'll be available digitally on devices like your mobile phone. If you're like me, not overly digital friendly at times, then you might want to speak to your cabin attendant like I do to get a paper copy delivered every night if you are cruising on a ship that favours the digital approach. Number 5, lectures and port talks. Most cruise lines will offer port talks, with some then offering things like more formal lectures to further promote the topic of guest enrichment. Port talks on a cruise are often a good opportunity to head along to the theatre to learn more about the ports of call that you're visiting throughout your cruise. It's also an opportunity for the onboard team to try and sell you things like shore excursions, so you do have to be careful in some of those talks. Thinking about lectures, many cruise lines will bring on experts in certain topics to deliver lectures or keynote speeches during the cruise. One example that I would give you is Cunard. Cunard are very famous for offering a programme called Cunard Insights, where they'll bring a whole range of specialities onto the ship to deliver talks in the main theatre. My take on this is that if it's a new topic to you and you're not overly sure if you'll find it interesting, what have you got to lose? These are completely free of charge. All you have to do is pop along to the main theatre. If you like it, great. If you don't, then you know not to go to another one. So yeah, give it a go, and you might just find your new favourite topic. Number 6, the next thing that's totally included in your cruise fare, and this one might sound strange, but hear me out, is your ports of call. When I started cruising, I met so many people who assumed that when the cruise ship would stop, you would then have to pay whatever the price was to go ashore and explore the town or city. But generally speaking, that just isn't the case. You'll usually find that your cruise ship will dock close enough to a town or city that you can simply then walk into town. However, it might not be the specific place that's advertised on your cruise itinerary. Let me give you an example. If you're on a European cruise and you're visiting Rome, then the cruise ship cannot get to Rome because Rome is not on the coast. Instead, your cruise ship will dock at a place called Civitavecchia, and you'll then be able to use an excursion service or public transport to head into Rome itself. In that example, yes, you will have to pay extra to head into the city of Rome, but you could also walk ashore into Civitavecchia. So don't worry about it being a case of every single day when your ship stops, you're going to have to pay all this extra money to get to where you're trying to go. I would say that usually 8 or 9 times out of 10, your ship is going to be close enough to the main place on your itinerary that you can just walk or jog or maybe use public transport to get in there independently. Number 7, let's talk about quizzes and trivia. In my experience, cruisers love a quiz and they love any form of trivia. It's typically quite a good way to kill some time on a sea day. Personally, I don't really enjoy a quiz, so I don't take part, but I find myself walking through these venues mid-quiz and being amazed at the fact that every single time there's a quiz on, the venue is completely full. You'll also have the opportunity to win some relatively basic prizes, but prizes nonetheless. So why don't you go along to one of them, test your knowledge, and see what you can win. Number 8, the gym. All of the cruise ships that I've ever cruised on include access to the gym or the fitness suite. Lots of people assume that this would be a chargeable extra, but it's not. Some gyms are within the spa facility on board, but to access them, all you have to do is walk past the spa reception desk and go straight into the gym itself. You'll find that fitness classes are also offered on cruise ships, but these generally do come with an upcharge. Some cruise lines do include fitness classes, but from what I've seen, the majority don't. So it's always worth checking for your specific cruise ship or your specific cruise line once you get on board. Let's move on to number 9. The 9th thing that's totally included in your cruise fare is drinks. Well, maybe don't get too excited. Some drinks. Unfortunately, not all of your drinks will be included when you take a cruise. On most cruise ships, you'll have access to things like water, fruit juices from a machine, tea, and coffee. The coffee that you'll have included free of charge or included in your fare won't be premium barista-made coffee, but it will be coffee that's available up at usually the buffet section of the ship. I would call it drip coffee. It's the type of coffee that you get in the large urn that you pull the lever and it comes out as coffee. Some cruise lines also have instant coffee available at the buffet too. If you are looking for a premium coffee, you can of course go and buy that, but in terms of what's included in your fare, it would be the drip coffee. Number 10, are you lucky enough to be cruising on an itinerary that features a cruise line private island? Well, if you are, then don't worry, that private island is included in your fare. There are some things that you'll pay extra for once you get onto the island if you want to, but if you want to go and have a day where you spend absolutely zero, that's, from my experience, pretty easy to do. Island access is totally included, and also transport around it. So if you are visiting places like Half Moon Cay over in the Bahamas, they operate a shuttle service that goes around the island all day. So if you are looking to go from one place to the other, okay, yes, you can walk it, but you could also look to take advantage of the free shuttle service to get there a bit quicker and without the effort in that sunshine. Use of the beach is included in your fare, and use of the loungers is also totally included. This one catches a lot of people off guard because when you visit the Caribbean, or any beach in Europe for that matter, you often find that when you sit on a lounger, someone comes up to try and charge you to do so, but don't worry, included when you visit a cruise line private island. Food on the island will also be included. It's typically brought from the cruise ship onto the island to then be served as a barbecue or buffet style lunch. You will often find that there are some upcharge options available. For example, on Half Moon there is a lobster shack that you can pay for, but if you'd like to take advantage of the barbecue buffet style venue, don't worry, totally included. You'll also find that on the private islands you won't have to pay extra for things like soft serve ice cream or the juices that you would get on the ship, included in your fare. But if you'd like to upgrade and buy alcoholic drinks or the soft drinks that aren't included, or maybe even go on an excursion, then they will be a chargeable extra. Number 11, swimming pools and loungers all around the pools on your cruise ship. Swimming pools on cruise ships are always included in your cruise fare, with the exception of where it's part of a spa facility, like for example a thermal suite, or locked away in an exclusive area like the MSC Yacht Club. The main pools on the top deck will be included in your fare, and the loungers around the pool are included too. Towels are also included, but you'll either have to return these to your cabin when you finish, or to the towel check-in, check-out station in order to avoid a charge being applied to your account when you go home at the end of the cruise. One point that I would like to add here about loungers around the pool is that while they are included in your cruise fare, please don't think you're entitled to reserve a lounger for the entire day. If you're using a lounger, great, put your towel and your belongings on it, but if you're going to the dining room for lunch or you're going away somewhere, do everyone a favour. Take your belongings, take your towel off of the lounger so that somebody else can use it. The number of people I see on cruise ships reserving chairs for multiple hours when they're not even there, blows my mind. In my opinion, it's so selfish and it blocks other people from using those chairs. So if you're on it, great. If you're not, take your towel away. The 12th thing that's totally included in your cruise fare is the water park. If you're travelling on a cruise ship that's got a water park on board, you might think that you're going to have to pay extra to get access to that. However, you'll be delighted to learn that these things are totally included in your fare. Okay, you might get some big attractions up there that you do have to pay a little bit extra for, but things like water slides and the pools around the water slides are typically treated in the same way as the swimming pools on board. All you have to do is go, grab a ring, or if it's not a slide that requires a ring, all you have to do is walk up the stairs and throw yourself down. So don't worry about having to pay extra to use the water slides. It's worth adding at this point that these onboard water parks aren't available 24/7 throughout your cruise, so if you'd like to use these, then just check on board what the opening times are so that you don't miss out. You might also find that you're cruising on a ship that doesn't just have water slides, but it's also got dry slides. In my experience, although this is quite a specific example, these are included in your fare, so you won't have to pay anything extra for the dry slides on, for example, Royal Caribbean ships or the ships from MSC cruises. Totally included, don't worry, so just go to the top and slide down. Number 13, and this one might surprise you. The next thing that's totally included in your cruise fare is the Wi-Fi for some things. Everyone assumes that you need to buy an expensive Wi-Fi package to be able to do anything online once you're on your ship. However, this isn't usually the case. Most cruise lines offer complimentary access so that you can browse things like the news, the weather, games, and also some other specific websites that they maybe permit. Some cruise lines will also then house their daily schedules and all of your onboard account information on their apps, which you're usually able to use without buying a Wi-Fi package. If you're in any doubt about what you can and can't do, it's maybe a good idea to give your cruise line a call if you're currently before your cruise, or just head down and speak to the internet team on board, and they'll be more than happy to help you. Number 14, you won't have to pay a penny extra to take part in formal night when you're on your cruise. I hear so many people say that formal night is a nice idea, but they're often worried that they're going to have to pay extra to go to the shows that night, to go to the ballroom that night, to go to some of the bars that night, and they think it might be a ticketed event, but that simply isn't the case. On formal night, the ship continues running as it has done for all of the other nights of your cruise. The only real thing that changes is the dress code and also some of the decorations and some of the theming around the ship. So don't worry, formal nights come with no additional charge, so throw on your dinner jacket and have a good night. The final thing that's totally included in your cruise fare, and personally this is my absolute favourite, and if you've followed me for a while you'll already know what I'm going to say: the sunsets. The sunsets will always be included in your fare, and there's no way that a cruise line will ever be able to charge you to get out there and enjoy them. I genuinely believe that the sunsets that you get out at sea are among some of the best that you can see on the planet. So if you've never taken a cruise before, or if you have taken a cruise but you've never stopped to appreciate the sunset, then please, on your next cruise, do me a massive favour, go out on deck with a drink, relax and watch that sun dip over the horizon. It is something that just gets me every single time. Of course, we've covered 15 things that are included in your cruise fare. I could go on and list 15 more, but we don't have time for that in this video today. There are obviously a lot of things that are not included in your cruise fare. For example, facilities like the specialty restaurants, the casino, the upcharge shows that you can go to. There are so many, the list is almost endless. You'll also find a lot of special events on board that are ticketed that you will then be able to pay to go to. My general rule of thumb is that it's really important when you take a cruise to just exercise caution if that cruise line is new to you, so that you don't end up walking into a situation where you accidentally end up being charged for things because you thought they were included. So hopefully this video has reassured you that even although you're looking on your online account and there are lots of things that you could pay extra for, you don't have to. There is so much that's included and you're going to have a great time even if you don't pay to upgrade the experience. If you've enjoyed this video today and if you found it useful, then again I would really appreciate if you would support my channel by clicking both the thumbs up and the subscribe buttons, and why not come and join me in another video. Over in this video, I'm sharing with you some of the top mistakes that both first time and repeat cruisers seem to be making over and over again. Thank you so much for watching this video today, and wherever you are, have a great day.